If you cut your skin, you see inflammation, redness, heat, swelling. Your body reacts. You notice. But what if inflammation doesn't hurt? What if it doesn't swell? What if it burns quietly inside you for years, without a single symptom? This is chronic low-grade inflammation, and it is one of the most powerful drivers of heart disease, diabetes, neurodegeneration, autoimmune disorders, accelerated aging. But here's what most people don't realize. Inflammation is not silent. It changes metabolism, and metabolic change leaves chemical traces, and those traces leave through your breath. Today, we explore how systemic inflammation reshapes mitochondrial function, alters volatile organic compounds, and may be detectable long before you feel anything at all. Inflammation is not the enemy. It is a survival mechanism. Acute inflammation protects you. It repairs tissue. It eliminates pathogens. It restores balance. But chronic inflammation is different. It is subtle, persistent, low intensity. It does not resolve. Instead of healing, it slowly disrupts. And the disruption begins at the cellular level. When inflammatory cytokines remain elevated, even slightly, they alter cellular metabolism. They increase glucose demand, impair insulin signaling, increase ROS production, disrupt mitochondrial efficiency. Inflammation forces cells into a defensive metabolic mode. Instead of optimized ATP production, energy becomes less efficient. Electron leakage increases. Oxidative stress rises. Lipid membranes suffer damage. And when membranes suffer damage, volatile aldehydes form, which means breath changes. Inflammation alters chemistry. Chemistry becomes vapor. Let's go deeper. Chronic inflammation activates pathways like NF-κB TNF-alpha signaling, Illinois 6 pathways. These cytokines don't stay localized. They influence liver metabolism, fat tissue behavior, vascular endothelium, brain microglia. Inflammation is systemic, and systemic inflammation alters systemic metabolism. This creates a multi-organ metabolic shift. Breath VOC patterns may reflect this shift through increased aldehydes, altered ketone ratios, nitrogen metabolism changes, oxidative lipid byproducts, not because breath measures cytokines directly, but because it measures the metabolic consequences. Cardiovascular disease is often described as cholesterol buildup, but cholesterol does not cause plaque alone. Inflammation determines whether plaque forms. Endothelial dysfunction begins with inflammatory signaling. ROS production increases. LDL particles oxidize. Lipid peroxidation accelerates. Volatile byproducts form. Long before chest pain. Long before blocked arteries. Breath signatures may reveal oxidative vascular stress in its earliest stages. Again, upstream. Chronic inflammation interferes with insulin signaling. Cytokines reduce insulin receptor sensitivity. Glucose uptake becomes inefficient. Mitochondrial overload increases. Fat oxidation becomes dysregulated. Breath acetone variability shifts. Aldehydes rise. Prediabetes does not begin with sugar. It begins with inflammatory metabolic interference. And inflammation changes breath patterns before blood glucose crosses diagnostic thresholds. Neuroinflammation is subtle. Microglia become overactive. Synaptic signaling shifts. Mitochondrial strain increases. Oxidative stress accumulates. Years before cognitive decline becomes noticeable. Inflammatory lipid peroxidation products may enter circulation. Some become volatile. Some appear in breath. Breath analysis may one day serve as a non-invasive indicator of systemic inflammatory load affecting the brain. Not diagnosing Alzheimer's, but identifying drift. Chronic inflammation does not produce pain. It produces inefficiency, slight fatigue, slight brain fog, slight metabolic drift, subtle, gradual, easily ignored, until years pass and structural damage appears. Breath may offer early visibility before damage accumulates. What drives chronic inflammation? Ultra-processed foods, excess refined sugar, sleep deprivation, chronic psychological stress, sedentary behavior, environmental toxins, visceral fat accumulation. Each of these increases inflammatory signaling. Each of these shifts metabolism. Each of these alters mitochondrial workload. Each of these modifies breath chemistry. Your breath reflects your lifestyle, often faster than lab results do. Now the empowering part. Inflammation is modifiable. When you sleep deeply, cytokine levels decrease. Move regularly, anti-inflammatory myokines increase. Eat whole foods, oxidative load drops. Reduce visceral fat, inflammatory signaling declines. Practice slow breathing, vagal tone improves. Inflammation shifts. Mitochondria recover. Breath VOC patterns stabilize. This is where predictive medicine becomes motivational medicine, because feedback changes behavior. If someone could see inflammatory breath patterns improve within weeks, prevention would feel tangible. Imagine this future. A non-invasive breath device measures aldehyde clusters, ketone variability, oxidative stress signatures, nitrogen imbalance. AI compares patterns to your baseline. Instead of asking, "Am I sick?" you ask, "Is my inflammatory load trending up or down?" Healthcare becomes dynamic, not reactive. Inflammation becomes measurable, not mysterious. Here's the critical insight. Inflammation damages mitochondria. Damaged mitochondria produce more ROS. More ROS increases inflammation. This creates a vicious cycle. Breaking that cycle early prevents cascade. Breath may detect the early loop before it becomes self-sustaining. That is the opportunity. Inflammaging, the slow rise of chronic inflammation with age, is one of the strongest predictors of biological decline. Mitochondrial stress increases with age. Oxidative damage accumulates. Cellular repair efficiency declines. Breath signatures may one day serve as a biological aging proxy, not based on wrinkles, but on inflammatory metabolic chemistry. Take a breath. You cannot feel inflammation in your arteries. You cannot feel inflammation in your pancreas. You cannot feel inflammation in your brain, but your cells can. Your mitochondria respond. Your metabolism shifts, and tiny molecules leave through your lungs. Invisible, silent, but measurable. The future of preventive health may not depend on waiting for symptoms. It may depend on detecting the quiet fire early, before it scars tissue, before it narrows vessels, before it clouds cognition. Inflammation is not the villain. Unresolved inflammation is. And your breath may be one of the earliest indicators that balance is drifting. In our next episode, we explore the gut, the hidden amplifier of systemic inflammation, and how microbial metabolism may reshape the chemistry you exhale. This is Health Reimagined, where we move upstream, before the burn becomes damage.